We are back inside City Hall, and as we reported earlier, labor leaders and union members joined forces earlier today and walked across the Brooklyn Bridge, several thousand strong, in support for what they call the rights of the middle-class worker. Joining us to discuss the march and the issues behind it are Ivan Almenarez. He's a custodian in the city, a Bronx resident, and a member of SEIU Local 32BJ. Devon Lomax is here. He lives in Queens. He's a painter and a member of District Council 9 of the International Painters and Allied Trades. And Dennis Hughes, the president of the New York State AFL-CIO, no stranger to the show. Welcome to all of you. Let me start with you, Dennis. What was this all about? You called many thousands of people together, and you went downtown and made some noise.
Well, Errol, there's a general feeling among our membership and leadership as well that there is this assault on working men and women. And what I mean by that, through this total economic downturn, most of the concessions that were needed to be made came out of the needs of working men and women, whether it was wages, benefits, conditions of employment, pension rights, out-and-out layoffs, budget cuts, all of that directed at us, while in fact the, let's say the upper echelon, upper wage earners were given tax breaks and other inducements, felt very little pain. So there's like this general frustration, and we were here to say that, look, we resent this shift in public policy from protecting the needs of working men and women, the middle class, the sanctity of the middle class, putting them at a disadvantage and advantaging those who have more than any of us have.
Very good. And Devon, tell us from your point of view, you work in the building trades. How's work been lately? I know we've had this recession. Everybody's been struggling. What's it been like?
Well, when I first began my apprenticeship in 2005, there was a lot of work. I was actually turning down work. Then around when the recession first hit, I stayed home for 3 months, and it's been really bad. And all our guys, we have a 20 to 30% unemployment rate in the building trades, and guys just want to go to work.
You know, I wonder if, from your point of view, I mean, I sort of read and talk with a lot of people. I don't know if people really fully understand how much of the work that you do creates the value of the city. Like, we see the gleaming skyscrapers, but they wouldn't be worth hundreds of millions of dollars if they weren't put together right.
Exactly. They don't realize that the middle class, we're like the glue that keeps everything together, and for some reason everyone wants to attack the middle class, saying everything that's going on is because of us. And I think the reason they're doing that is because they think that, we're not going to fight back. And the reason why we walked across the bridge today was to show them that we're all together and we're going to stick together. And if you push us, we're going to push back.
Okay, Ivan, you're part of the Building Services Workers Union, and you guys sort of keep the building safe and clean and everything else. And today happens to be Justice for Janitors Day, right?
Yeah, it was a very commemorative day today because we show strength and we show unity across the country, and this is how we celebrate what happened in the 90s when the janitors were doing a peaceful march and they got beat up by the LA cops, and that's how this came about. And this is a show of unity and show of force, and to let people know that we are there, we're hardworking people, and we're trying to make a living. And as a member of Local 32BJ, our contract expires on December 31st. So we got to be out there, and we're gonna do whatever it takes to.
How have things been lately? Have you guys had a lot of layoffs at 32BJ?
Yes, there's been a lot of cuts, and like they want us to do more and more work, and we keep getting the same pay, and we can't do anymore, and we can't afford to cut anything else. We're down to the bone on this one, so we need some help for the public. We got to let people know that we're hard-working people. We live in New York, and we're trying to make a living.
Let me ask both of you guys, because I have a lot of young nephews. I come in contact with a lot of young people, and I'm always telling them, look, get yourself a union job if you possibly can. Public sector, private sector, building trades. You guys, is it still possible to make a good living on what they pay going up through the system into the building trades and building service jobs?
Well, yeah, I think the union was the best thing that I've ever, done. After high school, I graduated high school June 2005, and I was in July working. But right now, due to all the economic, downturn and everything, we had to fund our own pension. So money, we put money into our pension. So my pension right now is a quarter of what it would have been 5 years ago because we have to fund our own business, our own pension. And so right now, a guy like me, I have to work 100 years to have a decent retirement compared to a guy that's retiring today or even 5 years down the line.
An interesting response, by the way, because I've talked to people right here at this table who said that young guys like you aren't thinking about their pension, and clearly you are.
Well, I just want to say that, these two young men represent the hopes and dreams of the city. They're the guys that we really have to make sure prospers and they're working towards a career path and moving forward. We have to get back to a point in this country, this city, and this state where those jobs, these guys are as important as the upper echelon wage earners. We don't see that. Budget cuts hurt you more than it hurts anybody else. Transit hurts the way you go to work. The educate your children is all about these budget cuts. We're really at a crossroads here, and we have to make sure that everybody understands what the consequences are.
Well, I've often noted, Dennis, that you have people who will talk about what the wealthy need. They call them the job creators. Okay, sure. Fine. You have a number of very good, dedicated advocates who will talk about people who are very sick or very poor. The advocates, though, for the folks in the middle, guys who are just trying to make a living, trying to put it all together, where are those advocates? Is their voice not being heard?
Yeah, their voice is not being heard. I mean, it's a trade union movement at every level that really speaks to them at a necessity because they represent them, But it's even more than that. What it is a public policy shift. The tax system doesn't keep them whole. All this stuff is working against us in ways that we never saw before.
And so who was the demonstration today really aimed at? Who did you want to hear you? Was it the city council? Is it the mayor, the governor? Who?
All of the above. We would like to get people, and the general public as well, and editorial boards and others. I mean, we would like to have this dialogue about what economic security means to fellas like these. What it's all about, how we prosper, and what it means to a city if we don't have that strata, that middle class strata that actually makes things happen.
Ivan, I often hear there'll be people who'll say, this guy is a maintenance worker, he's a service worker. Why should he be making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year? What's your answer to that?
Our answer to that is we live in this city, we work in this city, and we can't even afford to live in the city anymore. Everything's going up, and we just want our fair share. We work hard in what we do, and we treat our tenants well. And like I said, we do everything the company asks us to do, and we there in case of emergency, in case of anything. And I think we want a fair wage, that's just like everybody else.
And Devon, I mean, you've been through apprenticeship, so you know all of the things that go on that most of us never see about how to make sure these buildings don't fall down around our ears and so forth. But tell the public what you can about what goes on behind the scenes.
As far as what?
As far as just the quality of the workmanship, what they're getting when we build Union. We know it's more expensive because we hear a lot about that. What are we buying for that additional money?
There's no one better. We do it safe, we do it right, and you get the highest quality of work. I'm not going to down non-union workers because they just want to work and support their families also. But if you working inside of a building and you see the way the contractors, they take care of the down to the electrical, the painting, the carpentry, everything. It's no one better.
Remarkably synchronized stuff. I mean, I've seen a little bit about what goes on behind the scenes, and it's unbelievable the amount of planning and the computers and what day you bring in what phase of workers and so forth.
That's why I can't understand why they want us to cut 20%, from our wages. The median income for guys in our union is $50,000. Have you seen the gas prices around here? The $50,000 you can't really sustain a quality life in New York City.
I got you. I filled up today. It was a bitter experience. So I mean, when you talk about the general public's understanding, what do we need people to know about the status of the union movement and kind of where things go? You say you want a conversation to begin. What's the next step in this?
Well, the next step in this really is to get people to understand, and they do understand, or empower them to be part of this debate. Most people get up and you go to work every morning, you do the best you can, you feed your family, you go home, you're dead tired, you don't want to go forward. We want to make sure that people know that they could be part of this conversation. They could be part of it by getting involved in their union, getting involved in their communities, getting involved in political endeavors. We have to say that we have a stake in this city, and we're willing to fight for our stake in this city. And what I mean by fight, politically, economically, and otherwise. We want to be heard, and we want to make sure that we don't lose this great resources, which is that middle class.
Okay, very good. That's going to be the last word. Thanks so much for coming in. Best of luck to you guys. Thanks for marching out on a hot on a hot day to make your voices heard. Not everybody wants to do that on a day like today. And thank you, as always, Dennis. Good to see you.
Great to see you. Thank you, guys.
We are going to take a break. Coming up, we'll talk with the director of a new documentary about the Manhattan District Attorney's Sex Crimes Unit and a rape victim who was helped by those attorneys. Later on, Curtis Sliwa and Person Barrero will debate the new high school graduation rates in our political rundown. We're back in a minute.